Ukrainian Crisis Media Center continues its work, and we now invite Mr. Motuzyanyk, the spokesman of the counter-terrorist operation headquarters. During the 20th of December, the militias in the east of Ukraine, supported by the Russian military, fired against Ukrainian positions, launching around 150 shells, including the artillery calibers of 122 millimeters. More in detail, 12 mortar mines were launched against the Ukrainian positions at Novotoshkivskoy, 18 82 millimeter mortar mines, or rather shells, exploded in the area of Ukrainian positions not far from Travneve, and 15 more not far from Gladosovo. At the same time, it was the shellings and firings were more intense in Donetsk area against Kamenka positions of Ukrainian troops. 16 shells were fired of 122 millimeters caliber, and the same number of shells was also launched from the mortars of different calibers. Also, the Ukrainian positions around Butovka were also shelled. More than 20 mortar mines were also launched in the area of Vodene, and 25 more mines were detected as used against Ukrainian positions not far from Pisky. Also, the infantry fighting vehicles and large caliber machine guns were used. 15 mines of 120 millimeter caliber were launched against Avdiivka positions, and the overall number of targeted firing amount to 15 times. 6 times the Ukrainian units suppressed the firing from the militias using the weaponry not prohibited by the Minsk agreement. Regrettably, yesterday at about 11 o'clock, of one of the Ukrainian military units, one man died near Kamenka. We express our sincere condolences to the relatives and kin of our hero, and four more Ukrainian military were wounded not far from Butovka coal mine. They were all transported to the military hospitals, where they are getting all necessary assistance. Another item: the officers of the armed forces of the Russian Federation stopped their work as a part of the Joint Center for Control and Coordination on the delimitation and bringing apart of the hostile forces at Soledar. They returned into the territories of the self-proclaimed republics. In the words of Ukraine's Defense Minister, General Stepan Poltorak, that was a démarche of the Russian side, having in mind to accuse Ukraine in the so-called violations of the truce. according to the information of the main Department of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, in the units of the so-called First and Second Army Corps of the militias, the problems with physical and psychological exhaustion of their personnel are getting more acute, and their motivation is lowering. According to that information of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, in December, in one of the units of the so-called First Army Corps, 45 militiamen opted for being discharged from their units, and that constituted almost two-thirds or more than two-thirds of that unit. At the same time, unmotivated aggression cases are growing among the militiamen, and there were cases when in the Second Army Corps one of the militiamen opened fire against his accomplices. On December the 20th at Novolugansky, with the assistance of Ukrainian Civilian Military Cooperation Department of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and local authorities, the repairing of the roofs of some buildings of that village was done. And at one of the training fields in the area of a counter-terrorist organization, one of the units of Ukrainian air assault brigades discharged and destroyed a number of ammunitions